All right. Welcome back to Murder Therapy with Dolltok. We are now officially on episode 5. It's super exciting. That
Yes.
was a really lame applause, Ashley. Like that
I'm
was
so sorry. I
that
didn't
was
want
like
it to
a
be
gossip clap.
overwhelming. I don't know what this microphone picks up, and I deafen your ears, but it's fine.
Oh, it's
If I
okay.
was
At this
excited that it's 5 episodes.
well, at this point, it would be okay if you deafen my ears because I'm sure that you guys are picking up that I probably sound awful. I'm dealing with sinuses and whatnot, which I probably got crud from Cora, where Cora had RSV. So, if I hack in your ear or whatever, I'm sorry. Just know that I've been taking Sudafed all day. I'm on a Sudafed trip. Like,
Don't mind
shoot.
Jodi when she's over here robo tripping, you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all fine.
Uh, it'll be okay. But how was Ryan's show this weekend? And we talked about that, and I know
Yes.
that other people are probably wanting to know how the show turned out.
It was phenomenal. And for those who don't know, my husband put this whole show from scratch. He worked with a promoter, did everything. He built the whole list of artists. He did the promotion for it. He was the one that got the venue. He hosted it. So he did the whole 9 yards, and it was phenomenal. There was a few technical issues, because that's just us.
Us
But
technical problems, never, ever, ever.
both shows. He had a show Saturday and had a show Sunday. Sunday wasn't his gig, but I got to give a shout out because I forgot to mention him yesterday, and he's one of my
She's
best
a
friends.
horrible person.
I know, I'm so bad. And next to him and his wife are literally one of our best friends. So, and I'm so sorry. I love him so much.
You make it sound worse.
I know. I feel so bad. But DJ Hatchakali, his name is John. He is Ryan's DJ. Well, actually, all of Tritone's DJ. He gets the biggest pot of flowers this weekend.
Flowers.
Flowers, because there were so many sound issues, and he literally just came in with the fix every time. Um, Sunday, the sound was horrible, and it was a bigger artist that's pretty well known and been with a lot of bigger artists, and he wasn't too happy with the sound. And John was only supposed to DJ Ryan and his friend Jay Villain's set, and he ended up DJing the whole night. So he was a superhero this weekend.
That's great.
Yeah,
I'm glad it went well. I am. I'm really, really glad that it went well.
it was amazing.
Speaking of entertainment, I'm just going to squeeze this in real quick because I just thought about it and I figured it would be a good opportunity. We know that Congress is working on trying to pass the TikTok ban, right? So if
Yes.
you follow me on TikTok, it's not something I'm really too worried about, honestly. I'm not going to state my personal opinion too much on all that, but make sure you're following my Instagram page, Dolltalk22 on Instagram. That's a just in case, measure if anything was to happen. Again, I don't think anything's going to happen, but I have not asked the girls because I feel like that kind of gets into the whole legal thing. And if you know what I'm saying, then you know what I'm saying. I'm not going to go down the whole rules
We're
like I
not
do
getting
on my
controversial
website.
here. It's an escapism
Yeah, I'm
show.
yeah, we're not getting controversial, but I just wanted to throw that in. Make sure you guys are following the Instagram page as a just in case measure.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys are also, I was looking on our Facebook today for Murder Therapy with Doll Talk. Now, as far as like just Doll Talk itself, I don't have that on Facebook. I try to separate those two things from, my social media platform and then like my personal platform kind of thing. But we do have a Facebook page where we will be posting updates and whatnot. So you guys need to be following that. I want to see an increase in follows on
It's so
Facebook.
sad right now.
Also, make sure you're following the TikTok page. I know I just got on this whole like TikTok thing, but make sure you are following Murder Therapy with Doll Talk on TikTok. We do plan on eventually doing giveaways, but you guys ain't gonna know it if you ain't following. So
No, and I will let you guys know, it was a learning curve to figure out how to pull things from these episodes and fit it promptly and edit it promptly to get it into a TikTok thing. And we do have to be careful with things that we clip because of things we say, because, TikTok's weird. But Ryan and I have tried out a new software to see how we like it, but also my mom's friend Eric, who's amazing and helped us with all of the stuff, and that's why we keep getting better and better each episode.
I know. Thank you, Eric.
I know. He threw out, actually, in the program we're already using, it's recording right now, both vertically and horizontally, so we can get appropriate clips for social media. So those, I promise, are coming. We're going to clip, and we'll start from episode 1 and get those on there. Facebook will also have them. Instagram will also have them. And then we are, thanks to Jodi and her diligence with my husband bugging her, we are already in the process of uploading all the episodes into many platforms.
Yes.
Spotify being one of them. So it takes forever. I did not know it took as long as it did. They said like up to 3 weeks from the day we uploaded them. And I was like,
what?
Oh my God. Yeah.
I didn't realize it would take that long. I'm sorry, guys. But make sure if you've got Spotify, Pandora, iTunes, Apple Music, whatever listening platform it is, we are going to be on there.
Yes.
So make sure you're subscribing. I'm really excited because, again, this is a project that I've been wanting to do for the longest time. So I appreciate all of Ryan's hard work, our producer. I appreciate my husband, who is and Eric. Eric's not my husband, but I appreciate
that did come out weird.
Yeah, Nathan's standing in the kitchen looking at me right now. Luckily, he doesn't have the Michael Myers mask on, thank God. But he is such a good support system. Like he's been very supportive of this whole social media journey since day one. So yeah, I know I'm a very lucky woman. Even though I was like, well, what's your job for this podcast? I'm security. Well, this is virtual, so that doesn't apply, sir. But if it makes him feel better,
standing around in that mask.
Oh God!
I saw him put it on the lamp, and I about died.
Oh yeah, it's still on the lamp.
You guys don't understand. My mother, that is so Nathan.
My mother came over, right? And I don't remember what she was doing here. That sounds awful. Like mom doesn't really leave the house. My mom is. My mom's a homebody. Well, you know how my mom is, Ashley. Like my mom doesn't go out a lot. So for her to like even come to my house is a big deal. But she was here, which is fine. And she looks at the lamp and she goes, "Are you and Nathan into some kinky sex stuff?" And I'm like, "Mom, why would you ask that? What is wrong with you?" And I was like, "This is really uncomfortable." And she's like, "I need to get home. I need to go check on Katie." I was like,
that would be beyond weird. But
yeah, it was.
It must be a parent thing. My dad lives next door, so he comes honestly, he doesn't come over very often, but more often. My mom doesn't come over too often either, so it's it's fine. I go over to my mom's.
Yeah. I love Uncle Kenny though, and I love Aunt Sue. They're wonderful.
I love mom's house. It's quaint. She has chickens and
rabbits. Oh well, I love my mother too. I don't want people.
I love your mom.
I know everybody loves my mom.
I just feel like when we stay at her house, I'm like, it's like being back in like high school and you're trying to like sneak around the house and not wake her up.
Well, it's just because Katie, and I was talking to her about it today, she really needs to get, her dog's name's Katie, by the way. Okay, I'm not talking about a human being. Her dog's name is Katie. And she just needs to get Katie on, doggy Prozac or something. That's what she needs. Her anxiety is through the roof. If a truck goes by the house, she's barking and, yeah. But
no, we're going to get off track, but I really have to tell this story. So we came down for our grandfather's funeral. And we stayed, and it was my sister's fiance, me, my husband, Jaden, and then my mom. And my Uncle Bill was on the road, so we all stayed upstairs. My mom stayed in the living room on the couch, and all of us literally.
Mind you, hold on. My mother's house was built in the 1800s. It's an old farmhouse.
Yes, beautiful. So we're staying in Jodi's brother's old bedroom, and we have air mattresses, and all of us are literally in one room, and we all get along, so it's fine. And we stayed out late one night, and we were having dinner with Jodi and we came home and she was already in bed and Katie barks at everything. And then you hear her just, shut the up, Katie. Like she was yelling at the top of her lungs. It was so funny. And so you can't make a move without Katie barking. And so we get upstairs and we're all like laying down. And all of a sudden, my sister goes, I'm really thirsty. And you have to go down these old farm steps. Like, I mean, you go down and you turn on a landing and go down another flight of wood
Yes.
stairs, old wood stairs. And her bedroom is beside, like, you come down the flight of stairs and her bedroom is right beside the very end of the stairs. And Katie's going to hear any creak in the house. And so we were all sitting there just plotting for like an hour. Who's going to go get something to drink? There's a gallon of tea in her fridge. And so we were talking about tying sheets together and like just putting them out the window and us just going out the window because it was right above the kitchen. And then you could just go into the kitchen through the back door. And then I don't know how they plan on getting back up, but it was really funny. But yeah, you can't make a move in that house. It's so funny.
You can't. You can't. Well, and my mom's getting older and she really can't get up and down those steps anymore. And they've been talking about selling the house and all this, but I don't think that they'll like, no, don't panic. They're not going to part with it.
It's beautiful, you guys. It is literally the most
my
gorgeous house.
Dad doesn't do change at all. Like they ain't going nowhere, but one thing I did want to talk about, two things real quick. One, have you watched Baby Reindeer yet on Netflix?
Somebody this weekend at one of Ryan's shows that I'm friends with, her name's Stacy, she was talking to me about it and she was like, must watch.
Yes, it is an absolute must watch. So I looked it up because it says it's based on a true story, and I'm like, I need to know more about this. And the emotional aspect of the story is what's based on a true story. Okay, now there was really a stalker, but it goes a lot deeper than just someone being stalked. Okay. It is a really good
you're already telling me
example of I know I'm gonna tell some.
I'm like a stalker.
Well, there is and that's what kind of draws people in is like, oh shit, stalker story. But again, it goes deeper than that, and it's a really good example as somebody that works in mental health on why boundaries are important with mentally ill people and how you can be kind and set boundaries without coming across as like a bitch or an asshole, if that makes sense. Also, as somebody, most people know this, and I'm very open about my story. I am a sexual abuse survivor. I'm a huge advocate for anti-sexual violence. I'm all about that. And I've always said if I could take my story and just change one person's life, everything I've been through would be worth it, 100%. But that is the one show I have watched where someone can portray what the aftermath of sexual abuse is emotionally and mentally and make other people understand it. And he did a phenomenal job. So trigger warning, just, FYI, there is sexual assault in this. But if you are a mental health advocate like I am, a true crime junkie like I am, I highly encourage you to watch it. It's an incredible thing. And you have to watch it. You have to watch it because we have.
It's on my list for sure.
Yes. Oh my God. I haven't finished it, so I don't know how it ends yet. But I literally was up, which is part of why I look like trailer trash right now. Well, I do. I'm not gonna lie, I do. But I woke up in the middle of the night and here I was binge watching it. I was like, fuck, man, I gotta go to bed. Like I've got work and Wednesdays is court day at the hospital. Like, I mean, yeah. So, but aside from that, also, as you all know, the first episode we did was Gypsy Rose Blanchard, and Homegirl is staying in the media spotlight. As we all know, her and her husband have separated. What kills me though is she says, that it's apparently the whole source of the reason for the divorce is he hoards food and he snores loudly.
You should have seen my face when I heard that. I was like, what?
Well, what kills me is she's saying like my ex-fiance is He's like an emotional support. There's nothing there. Bitch, you done got matching tattoos. You're wearing a necklace with a K on it. You're live streaming with him because your live stream options have been disabled. Like your parole officer was like, ma'am, you need
Bitch,
to
she is
get off
shacking
of.
up.
It's so obvious, but I mean, and it's every day, something else,
Yeah.
all the time. And again, if she hears this, listen, the best thing that you can do for yourself is stop worrying about men, go to therapy and get help. But unfortunately, with personality disorders, it's very evident she doesn't see that she's the
Yeah.
problem.
Well, I mean,
And
in her defense, I mean, she was in jail. She
no,
went
there's
from
no defense.
there there is. We are
Okay.
not biased on this podcast. So she went from being a very extremely sheltered, not having any life experience child to like very extreme to where like nobody normally goes to the extreme of murder type of lifestyle. Then she goes into prison
Right.
and she's by herself. So she doesn't know relationships. She doesn't know what she wants. She's never lived with him. She doesn't know what bothers them. Like, let's be honest, a lot of people back when I mean, I don't want to like separate people, but like the older generation, like my grandparents and stuff like that, they would be like, "Oh, don't you want to marry them first and then move in?" No, I need to know what I'm getting into.
Well, yeah, no, I get
And
that.
she
She should have
didn't.
never got married. That
I
was
feel
a
like she
terrible,
just did
impulsive
that for
decision.
like a comfort. I do think she got married because I feel she felt she was backed into a corner and she had to.
I think she did it as a mechanism to try to make Ken jealous. That's my theory,
Yeah.
anyway. But nobody likes divorces, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not fun at all. I've been through it. It wasn't fun. Me and my ex-husband, we get along and we co-parent wonderfully, but nobody likes divorces. But you know who does?
Oh, you
You
have the
know who
best
does?
segues. I do know who does.
Jill Coit. She
Good
is the
God. If anybody
master.
knows it, it's her.
Oh yeah, yeah. She loves the luring them in the marriage and then the get away
Mm.
from me, boy, bye kind of thing. So
I was doing
we are
this research
talking
and I was
about
like,
Jill
oh,
Coit.
Jill.
Well,
Wait.
okay. Yes, old Jill Coit. So listen, it's really funny how we got this case because we, like Ryan said, that we needed to do another woman because we looked like men haters. Even though most men are the ones murdering people, just saying. I'm not saying that women don't do it, but most cases it's a man. And I was like, I had a few women in mind, but I thought, let's make it really random. So I told Ashley, I said, pick a state or let Ryan pick a state. And she said, Colorado. And by God, I had never heard of this woman. Y'all get ready because it's going to get confusing. I'm still confused. I'm going to do my best to tell this story to the best ability that I possibly can because there's a lot of people. Okay, we're going to go through a lot of names, but I came across Jill Coy. Now, Ashley was like, but she's not from Colorado. And I said, it doesn't fucking matter. I said, name a state. I didn't say,
She
tell
didn't
me, like,
specify what was happening in that state at
yeah,
all.
I said, just give me a state. And you said Colorado. And this was one of the top things that I came across.
Colorado is brought up in her story, but she is not from Colorado. I will
Bitch
say
is
that.
incarcerated in Colorado.
But we
A
told you we're gonna
spoiler
dive
alert.
into shit you're not gonna hear everywhere else. We want to give you guys new stories. You've heard, like, we'll get the big hitters because everybody likes to hear everybody else's opinions on the big murders, the big serial killers and stuff like that. But I'm here for stuff I've never heard of. I want to learn about new stuff, and we're learning with you. So this is a
Yeah.
new one.
Yeah. This is when. So Jill Coy is also known as a Black Widow. And we'll dive into why people kind of refer her to that. But
It's
she
great.
is originally born and raised in Louisiana, which is kind of funny because she's
Louisiana.
introduced from Louisiana. Yep, Louisiana. Um, Apparently she did not do well very like academically at all, and I don't know what made her decide to do this, but she up and decided at age 15 that she was going to move to Indiana to go live with her grandparents. Now, there, it's like she did a 180. I think academically she was doing well, and she was a popular girl, and she was also very pretty, and she got a lot of male attention, and she ate that shit up. So, yeah, I know. She ate that shit up.
She
She
did.
is not pictured in her senior yearbook. And I say that because she ended up meeting Larry Eugene Eineen, I think is how you say it. I'm probably not saying it correctly, but we're just going to call him Larry. Okay. So she met Larry in school, dropped out of school at age 17, and she married Larry, who was 18 at the time. So there's that year age
Larry?
difference. Oh, Larry. Yeah.
Larry?
So they're only married maybe nearly 1 year. And the couple then separated. She took out a restraining order on him. Okay. But he says that she is the one that was more like the bully and controlling and so on and so forth. And as we dive further, you're more kind of like, you know what? I think Larry was onto something, but yeah. So yeah. So she ends up moving back to Louisiana. Okay. While she's in the middle of this nasty little divorce, and she earns her high school diploma. She did go to a couple colleges. She never did actually get a degree, though. But she did try to further her education. But while she's enrolled in college in Louisiana, she meets Stephen Moore. We're already on to bachelor number 2.
1 year.
They
That
married,
was
yeah,
it.
1 year. Yeah, they married in
Young and dumb.
1964, and within a year, she gives birth to their first son, named Seth. Then I like, okay, so here's the thing. It gets really confusing. And again, forgive me because there's a bunch of names. I've read that he's called Seth, but then I heard it's Stephen and then Stephen Seth. So I don't know if it was like Stephen Seth and he went by Seth. But the point is, she had a baby. Okay.
She,
So little Seth is what we're going to call it. Yeah.
she
Little
had a
Seth.
baby, eats a
And
bully. And I'm just saying, doing the research, pay very close attention to the dates. Like, it doesn't hold any like significance, but like they're so names and dates because it's just the timeline is just bonkers.
it's, yeah. Well, and it gets, I'm like you. I had to go back and I'm like, hold the fuck up.
I was scrolling, I was
Hold
like,
on.
wait, no, go back. Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's okay. But anywho,
It's fine.
so shortly after that, when Seth's born, guess what happens? Her and Steven then separate. Okay. Yeah, I love the shock. Are you shocked that they? Yes. So
Shortly
she
after
then
a
meets.
year?
Yeah, after like within a year, she gets pregnant, has Seth, and then boom, we're separating.
Wow.
Okay, and this is a trend. We'll learn that this is a trend with her. But
Something good comes out of
she
that
then
one.
no, nothing
Oh,
good
she
comes out
got
of
Seth.
it. Well, she then meets a wealthy man named William Clark Coit, and he is a very important person in today's case. Okay, he's an engineer. Okay, and she meets him when she had filed for divorce from Stephen. Okay. Her and
Still
William
married.
marry. Yeah, she's still technically legally married. She's filed it, but still that judge ain't signed off on them papers yet. And her and William marry. But he has no idea that she's still technically legally married to Stephen. It gets so confusing.
Oh, it's
What's
so
crazy is she has 2 more kids with William, and he even legally adopts Seth. And I had read somewhere that they had his name changed, which is so like I don't know how factual that is, but I
okay.
did read that they did have Seth's name like changed. Where yeah, but anywho,
Hmm.
um, they relocated to Texas at some point because with William's job, he did travel a lot. So he's gone a good portion of the time. And while he's gone, that's giving Jill the opportunity to just go do what Jill wants to do. And instead of being just a really good housewife, she's out with other men doing her thing.
Getting buck
Um,
naked.
Oh yeah, and that I read somewhere that there was obviously where he was really wealthy, like they would have lavish parties and like they would get together with another couple I think that had a lot of money, and there was something to do with a Christmas party, and she's nowhere to be found, and William goes, like I think it was in the kitchen somewhere in the house, and she's coming through a back door with another man's coat on, and it's like, yeah, yeah. And he's like, where have you been? And she's like, something about a boyfriend cheating on her, and she's just like openly telling him this
Oh.
on top of, but she also liked to share her affairs. Like she wasn't secretive about it. Like she was
Not at all.
telling people, like, me and Dan up the road, we got something going on, and me and so, next door,
Yeah.
she didn't hide that at all. And people are like, William's a really good guy. Like I didn't read anything saying that he was a shitty human being. Like he was a really good person who legally adopted this child that's not even his, providing for you, and you're just out doing your own damn thing. But
Yeah.
whatever. But he learns of her affairs and he gets fed up, and he eventually sees she didn't marry me because she loved me. She married me because she wanted my money.
Ching
And
ching.
she wanted that dough. Um, he filed for divorce, and he also filed for custody of the children because she would just like disappear all the
Yeah.
time. Like, I'm gonna go do my thing, and I
Oh,
might
did
come
we
back. And
mention she had a child, another child?
another one.
Was that with him? I think
She
she
had two.
does. Yeah, and one was with him, right? One was from a previous marriage and one was with him, right?
Well, so she had two more with William.
Oh, okay, okay.
And
So
she
three.
had you get yeah,
Okay.
I know it gets confusing. So she had
It's
Seth
so
first, and then her and William had two. Her
okay.
and William's little thing, it didn't last a long time, but it lasted longer than most of historically. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he filed for emergency custody of the children. 3 weeks before everything settled during this nasty lawsuit, he's found dead. And his wallet is missing. He has lacerations on his scalp. Like it was pretty bad. They found him in his blue underwear, and I think he may have had some socks on, but they said it was just bad.
Why do
And of
murderers leave
course,
socks on? I don't understand.
I know we just talked about orange socks last week. Maybe they're afraid the feet will get cold. I don't know, but
I mean, why be considerate now? Like, geez.
well, obviously Jill is the prime suspect, right? Like they
She,
always, anytime something happens, they always go to the spouse first. And what does she do? She goes to New Orleans, hires an attorney, and checks herself into a psychiatric hospital to avoid questioning. That doesn't scream red flag at all.
she's nuts.
Yeah. But what kills me is she wasn't in sorry, I'm used to saying state psychiatric facility because I work in a state psychiatric facility, but she wasn't in the psychiatric facility for a long time, so I don't understand why they didn't like follow up with her after. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
There's got to
It's
be protocols put in place where you're just like, you can't do that stuff to find your way around a sentencing.
well, so hypothetically, like obviously I could see someone having a mental breakdown if
Well,
you were happily married.
what does that do? You work in those facilities. So like she was a suspect. What did checking herself in? Nobody's checking her in. She checked herself in. What is that doing?
Well, it depends. I don't know. I couldn't find any records or anything. But let's say she came in and she's presenting as like psychotic. We're going to deem her incompetent, right? She doesn't have capacity. So we're not going to let you talk to law enforcement if you're not in your right mind. Do you get what I'm
Ah,
saying?
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless, of course, mental health back then was a lot different than mental health right in today's time.
I got
But if we went with today's scenario, if you came in and you're presenting manic, psychotic, delusional, we're going to deem you as somebody that doesn't have capacity. And
yeah.
if they call wanting to question you, we're not going to let that happen in that moment because, I mean, what good is that going to do for them? Nothing.
Them or
Nothing.
her. Yeah. Okay, I get that. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. Does that make sense? Okay.
100%.
So no one was ever charged in William's death because she checked herself into a psychiatric facility. But so we're in 1973. She's left the hospital and she's decided that she's going to move her and her 3 sons to California because, again, nothing is sketchy about that whatsoever. Nothing at all. And while she's there, she meets a man named Bruce Johansson. Now, they
Mm.
don't marry. I don't understand how she was able to pull this off. Blows my mind. But she convinces this 90-year-old man to legally adopt her and leave her with everything he owns.
Everything. Everything.
Everything. And he did. That's like, I don't understand.
How do you
She must
legally
have,
adopt an adult?
I don't know.
No, I guess you can. I retract
Well,
the statement. You
she
can.
also did, well, we learned Jill is a you know, she lies a lot. And she did lie about her age some, but surely to goodness, like,
She's a con
if she
artist.
didn't
That's what they
show
do.
up and I mean, I would hope to God she didn't show up on this, like, poor little 90-year-old man's doorstep and was like, I'm only 12. I've got 3 kids, but I'm 12. Adopt me. Like, I don't think that's how that happened. I think she has the golden goose, apparently. And he got a little bit more, when you all can take that and develop whatever, thought process you want to. Well, I mean, that's the only thing I can come up with. 90 years old, you're too young to be, I
Well,
mean, you're too young. You're too old
they
to be adopting people.
no, 100%. But they did state, which we did not mention, she was extremely smart and extremely good looking.
Yes.
Extremely good looking.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I would say extremely
I'm
smart. Extremely good looking. Smart.
men found her to be very attractive.
Attractive. Yeah.
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 I mean, do I think she looks like a Victoria's Secret model? No. I
Well,
mean, maybe in that era.
yeah, that's what I was saying. It's a whole different time. I mean, you're thinking about 60s and 70s, like the hairstyles and
Yeah.
stuff, they can stay back there. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys look
So,
gorgeous for the time. I love it.
oh, yeah. Yeah. Well,
And I love
Jill
good
doesn't. I'm
vibes.
sorry. Jill's a twat waffle. Like, she's a shitty human being. Like, so
And
she's,
let's be real, she
spoiler
told me
alert, she's
earlier
in
that she's
prison.
a twat, and I was like, no, she must have the like golden twat because these
She's
men
got the
just
golden
flock.
goose.
The golden goose, they just flock to her. The
They
golden goose
do.
that
They
lays
do.
golden eggs. I want
Oh,
to
well.
know.
Oh, my gosh. All right, carry on now. So we're now going to husband number 4, okay, who was a U.S. Marine Corps major, Donald Brody. And this is in the same year that she is legally adopted and collected the estate from our little 90-year-old man, okay?
Yes.
Um, the relationship soon unraveled and she moves her sons back to Louisiana, okay? Like it was that quick. She still managed to get money from this Marine though, because this is what kills me. She used a false pregnancy. And she was even asking people like, yo, can I borrow your baby? Like, I don't know who asks that. And people were letting her. That's the more disturbing thing. Yo, let me borrow that baby just for
I
a couple
would
hours. I'll
not
bring
hand
it
my
back.
child over to a stranger.
Well, how would you feel if someone was like, can I borrow Jaden just for a couple hours? Like, I'll bring it back. I just need him for a couple hours. I'm trying to
No.
con money from these people. Can I borrow your son to do that? Like, I'll give you $20.
$20.
I don't think that she
$20 you
gives
can
any
keep
money.
him. I'm just kidding.
But she was collecting
I
child
love him.
support.
Yeah.
She later told him, so if you are somebody that's experienced death of a child, trigger warning, but she later told him that the baby died, but there was no signs that there really ever was
Yeah.
a pregnancy or a child at all. So now we're moving to 1976. She marries Louis DeRosa, and this is the lawyer this who helped her with her divorce with William Coit.
Divorce.
Yeah, divorce. Um, they had an on-off relationship apparently, which wouldn't surprise me if that's one of the men that maybe she went messing around with when like William was alive.
Just pay
They got
attention
married
because
twice.
yeah, pay attention because it gets
It gets really
confusing from
confusing.
here, and you think
That's
we've
why I'm
already
having to
went
go back
through.
and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So during an off period, I guess she took some time off. She was like, this con artist thing's getting a little exhausting. She takes a break. During 1978, she ended up marrying spouse number 6. So we're now on number 6, Eldon Metzger. But she wasn't legally divorced yet from the attorney DeRosa. Okay, I know this gets so confusing. Um, this was short lived as well, as they all are. And she ended up divorcing Metzger, and in 1983 she met and she got married to Carl Steele. I know this is so confusing. The fucked up part about that though is this guy is the headmaster of an Indiana prep school that her 2 sons attended. So she's like, that's my guy. That's who I'm going to marry. Don't care how much it affects my kids, but I want that one. Of course, like her other relationships, it ended soon too because she
Yeah.
can't. Yeah,
She
yeah,
can't. I mean, one of them lasted, I think, like 2 years.
yeah. But I mean, listen, I know some people that have been married maybe 3 times, maybe 4, but there's a point that you just need to stop because perhaps marriage isn't
Yeah.
for you. I'm not saying don't date. I'm not saying don't find a companion, but clearly marriage is not working for you and divorce is expensive. So why do you
Yeah.
want to keep
You
doing
don't like commitment. We see it
Yeah.
at this point. Yeah, because you're right. I
No,
don't think I've known anybody that's past 3, to be truthfully honest.
I do. I do. But eventually they stopped. It's not like they're like, well, I'm getting married for the 9th time. Like,
Well,
that's
because it
not
lasts a lot
normal.
longer than a year or 2 years. I mean, it was just. I mean, at this point, like people judge people for changing couches or furniture every year. Like, I mean, I'm judging you, ma'am, Jill.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, she only has one motive in case people haven't put that together. But so she's finally managed to divorce DeRosa. She's still married to Steely, and then she met our next big important person, Jerry Boggs, and she ended up
Mhm.
tying the knot with him. While she's still, what kills me is like, wouldn't that mean that those marriages
Sorry.
aren't valid if you're still legally married?
I was wondering that when I was doing the research. Why would they allow her to get married if she was already legally married to somebody and not legally divorced? The other thing that confused me is they stated that she went to Haiti twice to divorce 2 different men. Why?
And it's not legal there.
Yeah, and so the divorces were not honored because they did not legally oversee the divorce. It was not legal.
Well, I think part of the reason why she continued get away with the scheme is the fact she's bouncing between different states.
Well, that's the thing, but why did she go to Haiti for a divorce? I don't understand.
Because she's an idiot. I don't know.
Why
Like,
wouldn't you just
I'm like,
file for a divorce in the United States? I just don't.
I guess if you're conning people to be like, look, see, I did try. I
Yeah,
don't know.
well, maybe.
Unless,
It just but
I
they
don't
didn't honor her divorces either time she went. I mean, finally, it took her multiple tries, she said, to divorce DeRosa.
yeah,
It was
who
denied the first
knows?
time.
She's an idiot. That's
Yeah,
all I can say to that.
yeah,
But I think a part of it is the fact that she's bouncing between different states, and
yeah.
they didn't have the advanced computer software like what we've got now, because
So
this is
nobody
in the
could.
70s, 80s, yeah. So you couldn't track people as good as what we can track people now.
Okay.
So think about the time frame. But it's a good question. I
Yeah.
don't understand. I read that about Haiti, and I don't understand what her thought process was with that. But
Yeah. It confused me,
Oh, no.
but it was such a small, minute thing in her story that I'm like, that's confusing, interesting at the same time, but
Well,
there's
every
more that
move
keeps
she
going.
makes confuses me. You know, like
Yeah.
every fucking step she takes, I'm like, yeah. But all
But
right.
anyway, Boggs.
So she's now married to Boggs. He doesn't know that she's still married, just like the others. Like, no, I don't think any of these men, unfortunately, they just kind of fell into the Jill trap. I don't think any of them really understood that she was actually legally married to somebody, if that makes sense. You know, it's sad. But Jerry was described by people as like the coolest guy ever. Like, he liked to scuba dive, he liked to go and do photography underwater, which I think is super fucking cool. I just think that's badass as hell.
It is.
Yes, and he was very, very wealthy. That's the thing. He was extremely wealthy. I don't know if he was more rich than Coit was when she married him, but they talk about the fact that he is very, very wealthy. Um, Jill announced she was pregnant shortly after they get married. That's like her immediate go to. And it's like, I'm going to make sure I really lock you in. But here's the thing, at some point during our previous timeline, this bitch had a fucking hysterectomy. So she couldn't get pregnant even
Mm-hmm.
if she wanted to. So,
I mean, let's be real. Back then, that was the go-to. I mean, because men stepped up to the plate a lot more. Not always, but a lot more than
but
now.
she's
And
already married him. That's what I don't
yeah,
understand.
I don't get that.
Is
Yeah, that's I unless they were fighting and he was starting to leave. We don't know the details, but like these days, men care, men don't. I mean, it's just hit or miss.
well, he believes this, and they shop for baby clothes, the whole 9 yards.
Oh,
And yeah, and she even named the baby. I don't know what she named the baby, but I mean, she named this baby that doesn't even exist. And he's thinking, I'm going to be a dad. Because I don't know that
no.
he, well, no, I think he had children. I think, but I'm not sure, to be honest, if he had children or of his own or not. But I mean,
Yeah,
any person would be excited about bringing another child into this world. That's a happy
absolutely.
moment. Um, but he starts picking up on things. Like, he's starting to see signs that this something's not right. He's not stupid. He hired a private investigator.
Ooh.
Yeah, he did. And he learned his wife was actually still married to someone else. And he also learned that there was no pregnancy. And
Mm-hmm.
Jerry is fucking pissed, as Jerry should be. Like, he had a very valid reason to be upset. Any normal human being would be upset about that. Um, I can't get over the fact that she took him clothes shopping. Like, it's just so disturbing on
For the
so many
baby.
levels.
Yeah, that's so gross.
Yeah, it is. It's so gross. So he immediately seeks an annulment. You know, he's like, I'm not doing this. However, Jill's cool with losing him. What Jill's not okay with letting go is money. And yeah,
Worse.
yeah. He had went in with her and purchased a bed and breakfast, and that was a big argument that
Yes.
he was going to keep that. He did have other businesses, like he owned a like kind of like a mom and pop's tool store, as well as some other things, but she didn't want him to have anything to do with the bed and breakfast. And he was like, that's mine. I paid for that. That's going to be mine. While this is all going on, she's now hooking up with Michael Backus, and he is a telephone repairman. Okay,
He's
now he's
another
he's
important
also
one, people.
another important one. So she's shacking up. I don't know if it was the Sprint guy. I don't know what phone line business it was, but she's shacking up with the telephone man. Okay.
Mr.
Um.
Telephone Man.
Yeah, oh my- so she decides that the only way that she's going to be able to keep this bed and breakfast with all the shitty things that she's done is, instead of trying to, sit down with him and, well, we could split it 50-50, she's going to kill him. Like, that just makes perfectly good sense in Jill's mind. Is, I'm going to get Michael to assist me in killing. I know, I love that your lights just changed. We're going to murder Jerry because that makes perfectly good
Murder.
sense. Murder. I love that you squeezed that in. But um, on October the 21st of 1993, Jill disguised herself as a man. She put on a mustache. This is very important, okay? Um, Wearing bulky clothes and a cap. Um, and her and Bacchus, they headed over to Jerry's house, and this is where they ended up murdering Jerry Boggs. Um,
Womp, womp,
when he
womp.
didn't show up to work at the hardware store, people's like, that's not like Jerry. Something's wrong.
Mhm.
Um, his brother Doug decided to go check on him, and his brother is the one that found Jerry there. Jerry had been beaten with a shovel. He had been tortured with a stun gun and shot with a pistol. And that's how Doug found his brother. That's so sad. Could you imagine?
Sad.
Like, I know, it's so sad.
I don't want to
Uh,
ever find, even just naturally, I don't want to be the one to find somebody I love.
well, no, nobody wants to. Yeah, nobody wants
No.
that. But steam. What is it? Steamboat Springs. Is that the town that? Yeah, Steamboat Springs. Like, it's not like they don't have bad things like this happen in that
It
town. So it
sounds
really
so
shook people
cute.
up. I know Steamboat Springs. I know.
Move there.
They're known for like the safety and all that, so it really shook people up.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, authorities immediately are like, "Chill, Coit. They're zoned in already," as well as Michael Backus. They're like, something's up. That's not right. And I love this part. It's not. I don't love that this murder happened, but I love the fact that Neighbors was like, you know what? We seen people dressed up. Pretty certain that was Jill, and it looked like a shitty Halloween costume. Like she didn't like. I love that. So her masculine disguise didn't fool witnesses
It
at
was
all.
terrible.
Okay. Yeah, it was a really, really bad disguise. Sorry, Jill, but you suck. Like you didn't do good
Sorry,
at it
but you
all.
failed.
Yeah, so she
Yeah.
claims that her and Bacchus couldn't be the killers because they're camping in a canyon at the time of the homicide. But what ended up actually linking them to it is Jerry had a routine, and Jerry would go get breakfast every day at this diner and have the same meal. And
Yep.
autopsy reports was able to determine the time of death and link her to it, and that her story wasn't factual based upon the contents in his stomach.
Yes.
Routines are important, people. Like, remember that. Think about that. Yeah, routines are important. Don't be super
Yeah.
impulsive because what you eat yeah. Yeah. Not saying everyone's gonna get murdered, but just throwing that out there. Um, of course, Jill, when they get arrested and they go to court, she tries to just show that she's like this loving, I couldn't do this type of person. And
Mm,
everyone could just see right through her. And they're like, bitch, you're a fucking con artist. Like everything that she had ever done gets poured out in
yeah.
court. Like people really finally see who Jill Coit really is. Um, and her own son testified against her.
Yes. I was
Yes, yes,
waiting for you to say that. Yes.
yes. Seth
He turned
testified
her
against.
into the police, people.
He did, yes, which is a great, and I know that had to be hard, but she called him the day that she murdered Jerry and said, "It's over, baby." And even they apparently she even asked him before she asked Michael, "Will you kill Jerry?" It's like, why would you do that to your own kid? Like
And then he ends up
she's
dead.
cold-hearted. Yeah, and then yeah. And so that's really what sealed the coffin
Yeah.
on Jill Coit. And Jill Coit was given life imprisonment as well as Michael Backus. Okay. And they are both serving life sentences. And Jill is currently incarcerated in the Denver Women's Correctional Facility. And she does not have a chance in hell to ever get out, as she shouldn't ever. But she still tries to do narcissistic bullshit behind bars. Like I read something like she tried to file a lawsuit for being sexually assaulted, which if that happened, I wouldn't doubt that that didn't happen because that shit does happen in prison. But you know what prevents that? Don't do shady shit, and then you don't go to prison, and then you don't get sexually assaulted. Just throwing that out there.
Throwing it out there.
And that's our story
You
on
know what's
Jill
so
Coit.
funny? The research that I saw, it even said they said, and she's still currently single. I was
Yeah, yeah.
thinking this is gonna be
So if but you know, there's this fetish with people where they write people like that. Like Ted Bundy got fan mail,
weird.
Dahmer got fan mail. I read
Money,
something.
gifts, like it's
Chris
weird.
Watts gets so you know that this bitch is getting shit from men
I'm
that
just
probably
saying,
still
it's
live in their mom's basement.
yeah, it's cool to like us. We love learning about them. We want to study them, but I'm not gonna write a serial killer talking about how obsessed I am with him, how attractive it. No, he will kill you.
Yeah, well, she's gonna try to figure out how to suck money out of you. Sorry, guys.
Oh yeah,
Like she has no
don't
interest
do it.
in your emotions whatsoever. She just wants your money.
Yeah,
So if you're poor, I hate to break it to you, you're not her type. Like she has a type. Let's just throw that out there.
yeah.
So yeah. So in all of that, did you figure out what you want to ask the girls? Because now it's their prime time.
I got a few questions. Let's bring them out. Bring them out.
All right, the ladies. I love it. This is the best part. Okay. Can you hear it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, girls. Yo, I like it. Yo. Hey, so what do you think about Jill Coit? I don't know what that said. I think they said
It sounded like they said Coit.
they may have. Well, what do you think of her? I think they said mean and then bum, which essentially
I
is true.
mean,
She really was a bum. I
yeah,
mean, yeah.
yeah.
So I guess we need to know, was she responsible for killing the one William? Yes.
Mm, I believe them.
Murder. Did you hear that? Murder.
Murder. Murder.
Ew. They said ew.
Did she always marry for money?
Did she always marry for money? Yes. Not her, no. Did she love any of the men that she was with? Maybe.
Mm.
I heard bull.
Yeah,
I heard please help.
weird.
All right, I gotta know.
Okay.
Girls, did she give the 90-year-old man the golden goose? This is the quietest. Yes!
I. I'm sorry. That was so
She,
funny.
I know. Well, they got really quiet, which
But I heard
cracked
yes.
me up because they were like, I heard yes too. What
One
else
of
do you
them
want to
almost
ask
sounded
them?
like Bacchus.
They may have. Did you say Bacchus? I heard no. I hope. I don't.
Did Bacchus play a role in the murder of Boggs?
Did Bacchus play a role in the murder of Boggs? I think I heard yes earlier.
Not 100%, people.
Yeah.
I wonder if she did it alone
I heard
or
it
if he
was.
really did.
Well, did she offer him money? Yeah, that was really clear. Yes.
Were they a thing? Her and
Were they
Bacchus?
a thing?
They were a thing?
They always were. Did you hear that? They always were. Always. I keep
I
hearing
did
always.
hear always in a whisper. That was cool. I don't know. What else should we is she gonna have another husband?
I heard yikes. Do you hear that? Yikes.
Yeah, 10 husbands. Yikes.
Is she gonna get married again? No.
No. She's gonna go downhill.
Yeah, she's I love them. They're great. Thank you, ladies.
They are the best.
Did you want to ask them anything else?
I don't think I have any other questions.
I think that was Plum for a minute. Plum decided she was going to speak her piece on it. I have no fucking idea what she said. Yeah, Plum. Plum's the Indian dog.
Ira. Ugh.
Oh, don't. She doesn't mean it. All right. See? Yeah. See? All right, ladies, I'm going to cut it off. Thank you.
Have a good night, ladies.
That's what you get for talking about Ira bad.
She's going to come all the way over to Ohio and, haunt my dreams. With her very simple, plain, oriental face.
Ashley.
Not a disrespectful way, but like the way her face is, it's pale and it's like a Chinese doll.
She's beautiful and she's loving and she's caring.
She's not very friendly, Jodi.
She is. She's very reserved. She's a lady.
Shy. Okay.
She's not shy. She's just
Well, why doesn't she come out of her box and play with everybody?
Because she doesn't want to. She's a reserved lady.
She's poised.
I respect her boundaries.
All right, I'll respect it.
No means no.
I'm so sorry, Ira. No is a sentence.
No means no. Yes. Yes.
So we're pretty much 3 minutes away from the hour mark. We did it. We're getting our time.
Yay!
Yes. So, so we thank you so much for listening. Episode number 5. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode and the case that we covered. Please let us know anything, any thoughts, comments, concerns, snide remarks, bottom in the comments. Like, subscribe, follow, and everything, especially our sad Facebook.
Yeah, we need more follows. I want to see an increase.
Yeah. Especially on TikTok. We want to get up there, where maybe we can go live on the thing. Sometimes we'll be together. We can do that. But follow us on all the things and keep an eye out. Yep. Keep an eye out on all the other podcast platforms and content. I'm working on it this weekend. So keep an eye out.
Yes. Thanks, guys. We love you.
Everybody. We love you guys. Thank you so much for listening and supporting. Stay tuned next week and come back and find out who we're doing.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.